Unveiling the wisdom of Socrates, intriguing facts you never knew. Socrates, the venerable philosopher, was born in the bustling city of Athens, Greece, around 470 BC. Amidst the cradle of Western civilization, his birth heralded the arrival of a mind that would leave an indelible mark on the fabric of philosophy. In an era defined by thinkers, his legacy began to take root in the Athenian soil, setting the stage for a life that would profoundly influence the course of intellectual history. Distinctly, Socrates chose a path less trodden among philosophers. He never penned his teachings. Instead, he engaged in vibrant dialogues, a testament to his belief in the power of spoken interaction. This method not only distinguished him from his contemporaries, but also ensured his teachings were dynamic, living through the words and memories of those he conversed with. His commitment to Athens was not just intellectual, but also martial. Socrates served as a hoplite, a citizen soldier in the Athenian military, participating in several key battles. This aspect of his life underscores a fusion of intellectual rigor and civic duty, highlighting his multifaceted character and dedication to his city-state. Socrates is perhaps best known for his unique method of questioning, aptly named the Socratic method. This approach, characterized by asking and answering questions to stimulate critical thinking and illuminate ideas, became his trademark. It was a tool not just for teaching, but for exploring the depths of wisdom and understanding, making him a distinctive figure in philosophical discourse. Among Socrates' many pupils, Plato stands out as the most famous. It was through Plato's documentation of Socratic dialogues that the essence of Socrates' teachings was preserved for posterity. This student-teacher relationship not only enriched Plato's own philosophical endeavors, but also ensured that Socrates' dialogical legacy would continue to inspire and provoke thought across generations. Socrates, despite his less-than-ideal physical appearance, was a figure of immense charisma and intellectual magnetism. His snub nose and bulging eyes did little to detract from the profound insights he shared. This juxtaposition of his outward appearance with his inner wisdom made him a memorable figure in Athenian society. He introduced the Socratic method, a form of cooperative argumentative dialogue between individuals, based on asking and answering questions to stimulate critical thinking and to draw out ideas and underlying presuppositions. This method was revolutionary, shifting the focus from mere rhetoric to a deeper, more introspective examination of beliefs and knowledge. Plato, one of his most famous students, documented Socrates' dialogues, ensuring that Socrates' teachings would survive long after his death. Through these dialogues, readers are offered a window into the philosophical debates and teachings that defined Socrates' approach to knowledge and virtue. Despite his contributions to philosophy, Socrates found himself at odds with the Athenian state. He was charged with corrupting the youth and demonstrating impiety towards the gods of Athens, accusations that stemmed from his critical approach to traditional beliefs and the Athenian way of life. Ultimately, Socrates was sentenced to death by drinking a concoction containing poison hemlock. In a display of his commitment to his principles, he accepted his fate rather than fleeing, demonstrating his belief in the rule of law and the importance of living a virtuous life, even in the face of death. Socrates, faced with a death sentence, had a chance to flee Athens. His decision to stay, however, reflected a profound belief in the sanctity of law over personal survival. This choice starkly illuminated his commitment to principle, demonstrating a philosophical consistency that few could rival. As his final moments approached, Socrates' calm demeanor surprised many. His last words, concerning a debt to the god Asclepius, symbolized his unshakable belief in the spiritual over the corporeal. This gesture highlighted his belief in the soul's journey beyond death, leaving a lasting impression on those around him. His assertion that an unexamined life is not worth living has echoed through millennia, challenging individuals to introspect and question their values and actions. Socrates' life epitomized this mantra, as he relentlessly pursued truth and virtue, even at great personal cost. Socrates introduced ethical knowledge as a cornerstone for living a moral life. By advocating for a life guided by introspection and ethical inquiry, he laid the groundwork for future generations to question, understand, and adhere to the principles of virtue and morality. His criticism of Athenian society, especially its democratic processes, was bold and unapologetic. This stance, however, made him a target for those who felt threatened by his ideas. His trial and subsequent execution marked a tragic end for a man whose only crime was to challenge the status quo and inspire others to seek truth and virtue. Socrates harbored a profound belief in the immortality of the soul, a conviction that death was merely a transition rather than an end. This perspective underpinned his approach to life and philosophy, emphasizing the importance of nurturing the soul through the pursuit of knowledge and virtue over fearing death. His steadfast belief in the soul's permanence allowed Socrates to face his own mortality with remarkable tranquility. When sentenced to death, he accepted his fate without despair, viewing it as a release into a realm where he could continue his quest for wisdom unencumbered by the limitations of the physical world. Socrates' philosophies laid a foundational stone for Western thought, particularly in logic and ethics. His teachings encouraged a methodical approach to reasoning and a rigorous examination of moral life. It's this intellectual legacy that has made him a cornerstone in the study of Western philosophy and ethics. As a pioneering figure in ethics, Socrates introduced the idea that ethical knowledge is essential for a virtuous life. He argued that understanding the nature of goodness and justice is crucial for living a life of virtue, thereby influencing the ethical frameworks of countless generations that followed. His influence extended beyond his immediate disciples, shaping the thoughts of Plato, Aristotle, and the entire trajectory of Western philosophy. Socrates' insistence on the pursuit of knowledge and virtue over material gain or popularity laid the groundwork for philosophical inquiry that continues to resonate in contemporary discussions about ethics and morality. The Socratic paradox, a cornerstone of Socratic philosophy, posits a profound humility in knowledge. Socrates famously declared that the only true wisdom is in knowing that one knows nothing. This statement encourages a relentless pursuit of knowledge, while also acknowledging the vast unknown, driving home the value of intellectual humility. Socrates' skepticism of written texts stems from his belief that they lack the dynamism of live dialogue. He argued that written words cannot engage in questioning or defend themselves when misunderstood. This perspective highlights the importance of active engagement and critical thinking, rather than passive acceptance of information. Central to Socratic thought is the concept of philosopher kings, leaders endowed with wisdom and virtue. Socrates advocated for a society governed by the knowledgeable, suggesting that true insight, rather than wealth or popularity, should be the basis of leadership. This idea challenges conventional notions of governance and underscores the value of wisdom in public life. Despite his critical stance on many aspects of Athenian life, Socrates was deeply patriotic. His critiques were driven by a love for Athens and a desire for its improvement, demonstrating that true patriotism sometimes requires challenging the status quo. His commitment to Athens remained unwavering, even when it cost him his life. Socrates spent his days in the public squares of Athens, engaging with citizens from all walks of life. Through these interactions, he questioned their beliefs, encouraging a form of public dialogue that was both inclusive and transformative. This approach to philosophy emphasized the importance of community engagement and the collective pursuit of truth. Socrates' method was a beacon for critical thinking and self-examination. By engaging individuals in probing dialogue, he encouraged them to question their own beliefs and assumptions. This approach not only sharpened the mind but also fostered a deeper understanding of one's values and actions, highlighting the importance of introspection in moral development. His belief in doing good, irrespective of personal cost, showcased his unwavering commitment to virtue. Socrates lived by the principle that the pursuit of goodness was paramount, even if it led to personal disadvantage. This noble stance challenged others to consider the ethical implications of their actions over their immediate benefits or consequences. Socrates' confrontations with the sophists, who championed relative truth and morality, underscored a fundamental philosophical divide. He steadfastly defended the existence of absolute truths and moral absolutes against their teaching that truth and morality were subjective. This clash of ideologies was central to the philosophical discourse of his time. Portrayed as a gadfly, Socrates was relentless in stinging the state with uncomfortable truths. His insistent questioning and critique of Athenian society and politics were acts of courage, aimed at awakening the conscience of the city. He sought to stimulate reform and reflection through his incisive interrogations. Teaching that virtue is the greatest good and vice the greatest harm, Socrates laid a foundational stone for ethical philosophy. His conviction that leading a virtuous life was the key to true happiness and fulfillment challenged individuals to elevate their moral aspirations. He argued that in virtue lay the path to the highest good. Socrates' execution caused a wave of public dismay across Athens. His death, viewed by many as a grave injustice, led to a deep sense of regret among the citizens. It sparked a re-evaluation of the Athenian justice system and the values it purported to uphold, highlighting a critical moment of introspection for the city-state. Living a life of modesty and simplicity, Socrates practiced what he preached, embodying the virtues he valued most. His lifestyle was a testament to his belief that true wealth came not from material possessions, but from a rich inner life. This approach to living left a lasting impression on those who knew him and on philosophical thought. Socrates held that knowledge was a virtue paramount to all others, asserting that ignorance was the root of evil. This belief underpinned his life's work, as he sought to enlighten others through dialogue, challenging them to question their assumptions and strive for a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. By emphasizing the importance of the soul over material wealth or power, Socrates introduced a radical shift in values. His teachings encouraged a focus on personal integrity and ethical living, arguing that nurturing the soul was the key to a fulfilling life. This perspective offered a profound counterpoint to the prevailing societal norms centered on status and wealth. The trial and subsequent death of Socrates marked a pivotal event in the history of Athenian democracy. It exposed the limitations and vulnerabilities within the democratic system, raising fundamental questions about the nature of justice, the role of the state, and the value of truth. Socrates' legacy challenged Athens and the broader world to reflect on these critical issues. Delving into the enigmatic life of Socrates, we encounter the Socratic problem, a scholarly debate that stems from the challenge of discerning the philosopher's genuine beliefs and teachings. As Socrates left no written records, our understanding relies on accounts from students and contemporaries, blurring the line between the man and the myth. Socrates' portrayal in art and literature as the archetypal philosopher underscores his lasting impact on Western thought. His figure, often depicted with profound contemplation, invites onlookers to reflect on the depths of human reasoning and the pursuit of truth, embodying the essence of philosophical inquiry across centuries. The inclusion of Socrates' methodologies and ideologies in philosophy education worldwide signifies his undiminished relevance. His teachings continue to inspire critical thinking and self-examination, encouraging students to question the world around them and to seek a deeper understanding of the ethical and moral foundations of society. Socrates' life and tragic death pose enduring questions about the value of truth in society. His commitment to living a life of virtue and integrity, even in the face of death, challenges us to consider the costs of truthfulness and the societal structures that define justice and morality. Ultimately, Socrates' legacy is a testament to the power of ideas and the unyielding pursuit of knowledge. His philosophies not only shaped the course of Western thought but also continue to influence contemporary discussions on ethics, morality, and the nature of wisdom, making his life's work profoundly relevant in today's world.